Hey guys, Brain here, and welcome to another commentary video. Today I wanted to talk about a certain sect of balance ideas that people have and why I kind of disagree with it, or not even disagree with it, but I just kind of like worry about it. Like it's something that I feel like misses the point. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So there's been a lot of ideas proposed to Dead by Daylight in order to make the game more fun, to limit perks that are extremely strong in the game. So like we will only have a certain number of exhaustion perks on a team, or we would only have a killer able to run so many slowdown, maybe just one slot dedicated to slowdown. Or some people have suggested a point system that, like, you know, like corrupt is worth like you only have 20 points and corrupt is worth like 10, but like something like I'm all ears is only worth like 2. People have suggested a lot of systems like that in order to fix the match intensity of Dead by Daylight, because the main issue with Dead by Daylight is not that it's not a fun game. It's a very, very, very fun game. But the problem lies in the fact that this game is not meant to be played at maximum efficiency. It's very, very clear that it's supposed to be a party game, and you can see that based on the RNG and the lack of balancing, especially early in the game's life. It's meant to be a party game, just like the Smash Brothers of horror games and horror IPs. So it's supposed to just be just like this, like it's like a fun party game. It's not supposed to be taken intensely. And I think that's what most of us are running into as we go more and more into the game, is we're really discovering that raw nerve that, like, oh wow, when people play this game at maximum efficiency, no matter what side, if people play this game at maximum efficiency, this game's kind of boring. This game's kind of boring. It's the reason you always see people who, when they're making Survivor content, they you don't really see a lot of like gen efficiency videos, if any, because it's not very entertaining to see. Also, when you're watching killer main content, they're not really posting a lot of like face camping and stuff like that because, well, it's kind of boring, right? Like it's kind of not interesting. But like these things, regardless of how interesting they are incredibly efficient to do in the game, and it's kind of leading to a kind of like a group sadness or group disappointment in the game's life, because we're just all suffering through these really boring games on a daily basis, sometimes on bad days, every other game that we have, and we're all just getting kind of collectively burnt out. So we're all struggling for like these ideas and how to rein the game back in to feel more like a party game and to stop feeling so intense all the time. But the problem I have, or my main concern or worry with ideas like limiting perks or deciding to do a perk point system, is that it doesn't really tackle the core issues that make Dead by Daylight boring. It's just kind of like, it feels like patchwork, and it feels like we're not tackling the main issue. So if you, let's take the example of limiting slowdowns. You can only bring one slowdown. So the reason slowdowns exist is because essentially people have figured out gen efficiency, right? Like gen efficiency has been figured out. It's down to a fine science. Don't stick on gens together at the beginning, but come together in like the mid to late game to push out gens together. Like split up in the early game, come together in the end game, and then that's it. Like essentially people have figured out how to win, if they really wanted to, essentially win almost all of their DBD matches, as long as like you guys are in like a 4-stack or even just like a trio and then one random. Like you know how to do well in this game, and unfortunately that isn't very intriguing. It's not very invigorating gameplay, so it's rough. So slowdowns exist in a way to curb that situation of a team that just knows how to do gens, and that is something that you don't have any counterplay to. So there's literally perks that exist as counterplay, but that misses the point, because if gens are that easy to do and the meta has been figured out and has stayed figured out for that long, the meta should have changed. The game has been solved, quote unquote, for a very, very long time, and the way it's solved is not very interesting. There are plenty of games where you can do the main objective efficiently, and it's still a fun time for both sides inside of the game. And that is not the case for Dead by Daylight on either side. If you're proxy camping, tunneling, or camping, it's boring. If you're gen rushing or only just spamming exhaustion perks, it's boring. So when you want to put in this idea of like, hey, let's just let's limit Let's limit the amount of slowdown you can bring. That isn't addressing the issue that like slowdown or that gens have been figured out. How to do gens efficiently, how to do gens safely has been figured out. And the idea that most of the game can happen in the background without you even having a say in it going on is really boring. Just should have played a better character for it. Like it's like there's a fundamental flaw that doesn't have to do with the perks in this game. There's a fundamental flaw in the way this game is played at maximum efficiency that is inherently boring and has nothing to do with the perks. Like you can fix all the perks until the cows go home, and it will help. It will make the game feel less annoying, but the core problems will always remain if you don't tackle the core gameplay cycle, which is way too uninteresting when it's played at maximum efficiency. And that goes for both sides. It's a both sides problem. So until they tackle this idea of like discouraging the efficiency of camping and tunneling, or discouraging gen efficiency, like this game is essentially going to be in the same spot, even if you do push something through like a perk point system or a perk limit. Because and look me in the eye. Look me in the eye right now. Do you really honestly think that behavior is going to value the perks the same way you do? We can't even agree on perk value the same way. Like some people are like, Dead Man Pain Resonance is the worst thing to ever happen to the game since Ruin Undying. Like old Ruin Undying, when Undying was like infinite. Some people think that Scourge, that Pain Resonance and Dead Man Switch is worse than Ruin Undying at its height of its power. I think that's just ridiculous. I think that's nowhere near true. Nowhere near true. But like, that's just an example. It's like we don't agree on that, right? We don't agree on that. We don't. But like, you're gonna put that into the hands of behavior and expect them to properly rate perks based on their strength. Do you think that's gonna work? Or are they going to make like, oh, well, Pain Resonance is actually only 4 points in a 20-point system? And it's like, dude, why is that so low? Like, it's not gonna work out the way you think it is. Like, realistically, they're not going to be able to accurately rate those perks and weigh them the way you want them to. And then if you want to talk about like the only bring one slowdown, what if my only one slowdown is like Jolt or like Eruption, which are not really that great. Like that now I'm just going to be like in a situation where I'm going to be having a rougher time just because I wanted to bring a silly slowdown that's not that great and not even like a good one. Like there's so many issues that rise with this, and that boils down to, again, you're not tackling the main issues. You're not tackling the fact that the core gameplay loop is not fun when it's played too efficiently. And until you address that issue, it's going to be patchwork, and that patchwork is going to fall apart because it's filled with holes because it's not addressing the main problem. So I don't know, when people bring up solutions like that, I just don't put a lot of stock in them, because I know that they are fundamentally missing, like literally fundamentally missing a core aspect of the game that is fundamentally an issue. And until you address that main issue, things are not going to get better. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. And if I don't, I will see you when I see you, friends. So long.